Hello, and welcome back to the Home Sweet Healthy Homes podcast. So this summer is pretty big for Quincy, I guess this whole entire year actually. We're celebrating Quincy 400. So that's a little bit what we're going to talk about today. And I do have a special guest on. Welcome, Mark. How are you?
Nice to see you. Nice to meet you, Kate. Happy to be here.
Yeah, we're happy to have you there. So do you want to tell a little bit about yourself and, a little bit,
Sure.
About your role in Quincy and all that fun stuff?
I'm the media director at the mayor's office.
Awesome.
I've been at the mayor's office for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
And I've been on the Quincy 400 team, which it's now a team because there's just so much happening this year that we needed a really solid team, which is really headed up by our awesome Karen O'Toole. She dots her I's and crosses her T's like nobody else does. So we work as a team, coming up with all the events that we've come up with, implementing everything, because the mayor really wanted to make this year the biggest year ever. I mean, 400 years, right?
It's wild.
That's something to celebrate as a settlement. It's been a privilege. So I've been there for a long time. I remember when I started, I was working on... I knew the mayor for a long time, but I was in radio for 25 years back in the day. And then I ran the tourism office many, many years ago. And I was working, but in between I was working in Plymouth for a little while, and I went to England with them, to Plymouth, England, as they were preparing for their 400th in 2020.
Cool. Yeah.
It was very cool. And to see what Plymouth 400 was doing.
Yeah.
Immediately thought of, all the communities from Plymouth all the way to Boston between 2020 and 2030. There's so many 400 anniversary celebrations, not 20 of us all together.
Yeah.
And ours was 2025. So when I started working with the city, right before I started working with the city, and I left Plymouth, England, I bought Quincy400.org.com, .net,
everything.
And I remember talking to the mayor about this, and he really wanted to do something big. And this was back in 2016.
Yeah.
So we started with a small little group. We would meet in we had many surveys, many charrettes, many neighborhood meetings, many. We got David McCullough involved. We had online surveys. Where do you want to see your city in 2025? And the mayor was really, so we came up with a sort of strategy and a plan on how this would be. And then COVID happened.
Right.
And it ruined Plymouth's opportunity to celebrate their America's hometown, which would have been huge.
Yeah.
They planned on having a royal and the president at the time come.
Yeah.
And of course, it hurt plans for everybody. So we all had to shift gears completely. Obviously, everything took precedence. But when we came out of it, we really said, okay, now let's plan the year of events.
Yeah.
And that's what we're in the middle of right now.
Yeah. Awesome. I know 400 is definitely something to celebrate.
Yeah.
And I'm dying to know, did Plymouth ever have their big celebration?
They did what they could.
Yeah.
When we were all wearing masks.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where you were at that time, but I was at the mayor's office. I remember the mayor put out a video every single day.
Yeah.
Telling people what was going on. We had to talk about the numbers. We would get the numbers from the state, from our city, how many new cases, how many deaths, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But it's hard to believe that we were back there. Everything shut down. The world froze. But every day, the mayor was out there talking about the new, bringing some of that COVID money to dishwashers and busboys. So, not that I don't want to digress to those times, but it's hard to believe we were back there only 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And here we are now. Just celebrating. So Plymouth didn't get to celebrate theirs now, unfortunately.
Well, they can come visit Quincy for ours this year. And there's been events happening all throughout the year, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and now we're having some of our bigger summer events as well happening during the nice weather. But it definitely has been a lot of planning, I bet, for you and the team for the past around 10 years or so.
I mean, it was funny because back then we were planning on where we want to. The mayor had we kind of focused on what John Quincy Adams said, planting trees for the next generation and the generations to follow.
Yeah.
Well, where did we want to see the city by 2025?
Yeah.
And that was the goal. So we had tourism and economic development.
Yeah.
We had capital assets and transportation. We had history and health and wellness and so many different categories that we were planning events around. And we actually had some great community input from many, many people. We put together committees for each one of those 6 categories that we had, 6 pillars at the time.
Right.
And then, of course, COVID came.
Yeah.
And we had all that information, which was great.
Yeah.
And we know what some of the people wanted. And we've been implementing those all along the way because the mayor said, well, we know they need this. We know we need this. We're on our 5th school now, building our 5th school. We're building a new police and fire headquarters. All these things that need, and we're hoping to get one of my dreams as a musician and a performer for all my life, to see a really great performing arts center.
Yes, for sure.
And that's coming too at some point. But,
awesome. Yeah, and it is definitely, I've grew up in Quincy my whole life as well as my parents, and it's crazy to see how the city has changed, but in a good way. I love the new Hancock Adams Common. That area is beautiful. I walk my dogs there all the time. And
think about that. That was Hancock Street.
Yeah, it's
everyone
wild.
said to the mayor when he's the only guy who had the vision for that.
Yeah.
People that worked within the city. I remember a joke that I won't mention his name, but said at an event, he said, so now the mayor's going to go apparently put a park over at Neponset Bridge.
Yeah.
Because nobody could believe that would be something that would be beautiful and epic. And it's just an absolute showpiece for other communities. And it's helped to bring other businesses to the city as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And that was paid for, by the way, by hotel motel tax, not anyone's property tax. So that was really amazing from visitors to the city.
Yeah. Wow. No, it's awesome to see how much the city has changed. And, I'm sure you as well, the old bargain center my mom also talks about. And she's like, it's just amazing, like all the restaurants. And it's almost like a smaller Boston in a sense that people that don't really want to maybe commute that far into the city, they have everything that they might need right in Quincy itself.
That's a great point, Kate, because we're a city, but we're also a city of neighborhoods, many neighborhoods. So the idea is to keep the development is coming no matter what, because Boston expands. Look at Cambridge and Arlington and all those areas. Well, we've sort of had almost like a do not enter sign down the South Shore, or it wasn't conducive to it. It just until now. And Quincy's become, under the Renaissance, under the mayor's leadership, has been great. But at the same time, there wasn't a lot of new development happening here until this Renaissance that we've been seeing in the last 15, 18 years. And because of that, I think we can now call ourselves a real, genuine city, but also neighborhoods. Keep everything on the spine of the tracks. Right. We're on the train, which is great, because that's where you want to keep it. You don't want to be building giant behemoth apartment buildings in neighborhoods. And unfortunately, there's a housing shortage. There really is. So people are always complaining apartments, condominiums. I get it. I that's just unfortunate that people have to be that way. But I understand, as long as it doesn't encroach on the neighborhoods. Right. And that's it. Exactly. But we need those. We need those apartments and we need those condominiums.
No, for sure.
And also keeps property taxes down.
Yeah, for sure. And people like my age who are just starting to kind of, move out of home, had just graduated college. And so they're like, why not Quincy? Why do we have to go into Boston? Like, we can just hop on the Red Line, which is awesome.
Yeah, my daughter's the same. She loves living here. It's like all of her friends are like dying to get into Quincy, which is really, really amazing. If you talk to your parents, they remember the bargain center. So do I. Yeah. We didn't say that when we were younger. Everyone wanted to get out. Now everyone wants to come back in.
Right.
It's really an amazing place.
I'm like, hey, Mom and Dad, what if I stay here for a couple more years? Just, we'll be roommates.
That's great.
Yeah, it's not too bad. So, as you mentioned John Adams earlier, Quincy is really rich in its history. Yeah. And so, do you want to talk a little bit about how you're using our history-dense city in your planning of activities for Quincy 400?
Well, it's funny because this city is obviously world famous as far as what we have from our historic point of view. Like one of the most historic cities in the world and in this country for sure. Everywhere you walk is a grounds of the American Revolution. It really is amazing. So John Adams, second president, John Quincy Adams, sixth president, their wives, Abigail and her rich story, and Louisa Catherine Adams, John Hancock. The Quincy family, Dorothy Quincy and was John Hancock's wife, and Josiah Quincy. There's just so much history here, and the national parks that we have that are unique to any other national park in the country, which is really amazing. Because you go to Mount Vernon, or you go to George Washington's home, or Monticello, where Thomas Jefferson. They're all replicas in there. There's a lot of replicas. There's not many. There are 88,000 original artifacts in the John Adams, the Summer White House or Peacefield, the mansion we call the Adams, and thank you, David McCullough, for shining a light on that in his Pulitzer Prize-winning novel, John Adams. Now, how we get back to your question, how do we infuse that in Quincy 400? Well, you can't make everything about history, but you can do a healthy amount, because that is the juggernaut in the room. We have to, to accentuate our history as much as possible. And not only that, but we have a great relationship now for the last 5 years with the 1,000-year history that we've had with the Massachusetts tribe. So we've been working with them now for years in implementing their story before anyone settled here 400 years ago. And the trading that they did, they had a really healthy trading relationship with the residents of Quincy 400 years ago, 300 years ago. And the Massachusetts tribe has a rich history that's never been told properly. So we want to help them facilitate their story within our classrooms. And by telling their story to people that come to visit the city. So we're doing that as well.
Yeah.
That's part of our mission. The mayor wanted to make sure that we really told their story within our 400 story, because they're both stories to tell. So beyond that, everyone likes a party. So
Of course.
everyone wants to have a
Yes.
good time. Everyone, the Maritime Festival we just had this last weekend at Marina
Yeah.
Bay broke records for every single business
Yeah.
down there. So helping the economic development, every restaurant did better than they've ever done.
Yeah.
So it was really an amazing weekend
Yeah.
of such celebration.
I actually
Everyone
was
loves
there.
to party. Yeah, it was great.
It
wasn't
was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was so cool to see all the different activities, the live music,
Yes.
the magicians, the jugglers. I felt like I looked every which way,
Yeah.
and there was something new that I was seeing, and there was something for everyone. If you liked history, if you liked live music, it was all there.
It was all there,
Yeah.
and that's the idea. Infuse a little bit of both, and you have a win-win for everyone.
Right.
And everyone's enjoyed everything we've done so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
The Flag Day celebration this year was better than it's ever been, bigger than it's ever been. I mean, the floats that the mayor commissioned to have built by mostly our own carpenters and people. We didn't look outside. We built these beautiful floats that were to Howard Johnson's and the Bargain Center,
Yeah.
and Child World, these old stores, plus the Adams Homes. They were on a float. They built these things, a ship that they built from the shipbuilding stone. We celebrated our history within that parade.
Yeah.
I thought, how great could a parade could be? I didn't have that vision.
True.
The mayor did. So, and then the fireworks in the end, of course, at Flag Day.
Yeah.
We always have thousands of people up there.
Yeah.
We had Ronan Tynan come and sing
Yeah.
a few songs. He's he's one of the Irish tenors. A few weeks ago,
Yeah.
we had the Dropkick Murphys, and it all went great.
Yes,
So,
yes.
a free concert by the Dropkick Murphys.
Yeah.
So at that with other things that we have, other concerts, and I'm happy to talk about those too as well.
We do have Darius Rucker coming at the end.
Darius
in
Rucker and
August,
John Fogerty.
right?
Yep.
So that is just something awesome
Yeah.
to have it in Quincy too.
So Darius Rucker, it's 7,000 people.
Yeah.
The tickets went like so
Yes.
fast. So that's at Veterans Memorial Stadium.
Veterans,
where the
yes.
high school football games are.
Yes,
So,
yes.
So Darius Rucker on Friday night, August 2nd, and on August 3rd is John Fogerty, which
Yeah.
I know it's probably your parents' age or even grandparents to some.
Yeah.
John Fogerty, he wrote Proud Mary. He wrote all of the Creedence Clearwater Revival songs. You'd know about 10 songs if
Yeah,
you heard them.
yeah.
So he's a legendary
Yeah.
musician and writer of great music from around the world.
Yeah.
So he'll be there on the 3rd. That's
Yeah.
good. But I love Darius too. He's amazing.
Right? I mean, who doesn't like Wagon Wheel?
And Hootie.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
met him back. I worked in radio years ago, so I met him and Hootie the Blowfish.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Back in the 90s. It was
and
fun.
like you said, people just like to celebrate something, and I think they'll love having a concert here in Quincy
Yes.
rather than going to Boston or maybe some more in the South Shore. There's some
Yeah.
more venues down there, so it's right in
Yeah.
their own backyard.
Just like the
that they can-
Dropkick Murphys, they started here 30 years ago.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
rehearsed here. It was their first place, and then they wanted to do their record release. And so it's the year before their 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Next year is their
awesome.
30th. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess you learn something new every day. I didn't know that they
Yeah,
started here
they did,
in
yeah.
Quincy. Wow, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
So I guess this brings me to my next question for you. Do you have any events that happened so far or upcoming that you're really excited for, that your
Yeah.
favorite, like spotlight events or?
We do. We have some really a few that we haven't finished yet. I mean, again, everything we do. The mayor really wanted to. This was years ago. We've started doing this, but every
Yeah.
month there's a major event here.
Yeah.
So every single month, the last 7 years we've been doing a major event every single month at Hancock Adams Common.
Yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
So Darius and Fogerty on the August 2nd and 3rd. We have an incredible hot air balloon show
Whoa.
on September 20th.
That'll be cool.
Which is going to be up at Pageant Field,
Yeah.
which will be really fun.
Awesome.
We have on the 21st, that's Sunday, we're doing an event called Cover Palooza.
Yeah.
So your parents will definitely know this, you may not, but it's
Yeah.
going to be really fun.
Yeah.
So Dick and Jane and Mark Morris and the Cat Tunes are
Yeah.
going to play at Kilroy Square, which is behind the
Awesome.
Fours. Going to put a big stage there.
Yeah.
And Dick and Jane is my band, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
so Mark Morris and the Cat Tunes is legendary.
Yes.
In the South Shore, they're huge. So we also have the 27th. We have a historic Heritage Day. I'm not sure they're changing the name, but
Yeah.
that's going to be a really fun event for the whole family. These are all for the whole family. October 4th, we've been killing it every year with our food truck and music festival. We have 25 to 30
about that,
trucks.
yeah.
There's always 10,000 people there. The music is incredible. It's going to be the same this year. Let's see, on October 30th, we have a symposium with General Dunford. General Dunford was the former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And of course, November 28th, we have our tree lighting, which is this year going to be out of the park crazy. I don't know if you've ever been to the tree lighting in the past few years. It's really big now, and this year is going to be unbelievable. So last year we really stepped it up. We had a big, huge 40-foot LED screen, and it was great. The entertainment this year is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And then of course that whole the whole weekend is We Are Christmastown USA on that weekend.
I was going to say.
We have other events planned, and the same kind of events that we usually do, like just even on Sunday, the Maritime Festival we had just recently. That Sunday, we had a great event called The Journey Through the Year. So the journey continues, and John McDonald is our events coordinator. He pretty much hires all those Broadway style musicians or big bands or the Drifters and Platters, and I think Tavares is coming. They're a famous disco band from the 70s. They did a whole thing about Quincy music, and this kid who was a writer of music, I forget his last name, Luke Besson? No, Luke something, from Quincy High School, arranged all this music, and it was really amazing.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. Yeah, it was like world-class entertainment, and it was just that Sunday. So there's a lot going on.
I did see on social media, since I was at the Marina Bay event, what was happening right in front of City Hall. That's with the Broadway, and that was really cool as well. So it definitely was. It's nice to see a lot going on in the city as well, that people can go out, walk around, meet new people, maybe meet new neighbors or other residents of Quincy as well.
That's where we get a good pulse too of how we're doing.
Yeah.
And people are always just so jazzed up, especially the Maritime Festival at Marina Bay. I walked up to a lot of different people and asked, what do you think? What are your thoughts? And I had two people that live in Quincy that have never been to the marina.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's wild, right?
Yeah.
So, and they're like in their 20s, and they're like, this is like Disney. I'm like, well, it's not like, take it easy. It's not like, but it was, it was amazing. That's really cool. They love what's going on.
You have water, you have different restaurants, shops.
Yep.
There's so much to residents that it's like a one-stop shop in the summer.
Yeah. And as we end this year, we're, next year is Rev 250, Revolution 250. That's a nationwide. We, back when I was a kid, I was a little kid, but it was the bicentennial.
Yeah.
So now we're doing Revolution 250.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nationwide thing. So, but Quincy was the start of a lot of that.
Yeah.
So we're going to do some things next year too. And the mayor had said, I don't like to go backwards. I like to move forward. So we'll continue to do some of them. Not as many as this year, but we might do a few big signature events.
Of
because
course.
These concerts have worked out incredibly well for us so far. We'll see.
Yeah, of course. And just going back a little bit on what you were saying about, it's so hard to think about winter and Christmas right now, but it really truly feels like Quincy in the wintertime. It's all lit up, the tree lighting. It's just, I remember when I was a young girl, it was just so magical. There was that one weekend where the lights turned on and you could all stand by the tree and it was like carols and music happening in City Hall. It's just, it's the best time of the year, truly. To just celebrate it.
And the thing is, we think it's not that far away, and unfortunately, these things, a lot of these concerts were planned 6 months ago, so we're planning now for Christmas. You have to,
of course.
We're going to rehearse the whole thing ourselves. We're going to work with some musicians and make sure it's a show that is second to none from beginning to end. We start rehearsals for that in September, which is only a month and a half away.
Which is crazy.
So it's crazy.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, and multiple parts of the city too. City Hall, it's not only just City Hall, Marina Bay all the way over in Squantum, they do a tree lighting itself too. So it's not really based on different neighborhoods, it's everywhere.
And Kate, you're in planning, so you know there's been so many things that have happened this year from just now, today I left the opening of we were unveiling the stones for this new park on Wollaston Beach. Yeah. That was a smaller thing, but they're 5 stones, beautiful to celebrate the 50 years plus of music that they had there. Louis Armstrong and Judy Garland and these famous musicians forever that played there. Yeah. World-class musicians. And then, we had, the Furnace Brook Golf Club is open this year.
Which is gorgeous.
Yeah. Gorgeous, right? Mm-hmm. Our new beautiful animal shelter that is second to none anywhere. That's a gorgeous animal shelter up there. And we have the new emergency, the public safety headquarters that's going to open up in October. Soon. The gates on the Wollaston a cemetery, absolutely beautiful. This city is being beautified over and over again, and thank God that major National Grid project is finally wrapping up on all the main streets.
Yes.
But that was all infrastructure that was there for decades or almost 100 years
Yeah.
for some of those
Yeah.
projects that they finally did.
Yeah, and
So-
Adams Street looks gorgeous
Yeah.
right now too. It's like the
does.
new, even just small things like the new lampposts look gorgeous, and the new road and everything. It's definitely.
And none of that happens by accident. And the mayor has been working on these projects for
Yeah.
years. So to see it all come to fruition, and what's going to be coming next year and the year after that,
Right.
you can't stop. When the city is growing this fast, you want to stay ahead of it, because there are cities and towns around us that are struggling and suffering and going into overrides.
Yeah.
Proposition 2.5 overrides if they have to replace a boiler.
Yeah.
Or, and they have to cut staff, and we're doing really well.
Yeah.
And, the mayor always reminds us, and people don't like to hear this, but when it comes to taxes, of the 351 communities in the state, we're right in the middle.
Yeah.
And we're one of the largest cities in New England.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing. We're in good shape.
And going back a little bit to, you were saying that we had local people from Quincy hosting as musicians
Yeah.
and building the floats. How are you incorporating local businesses, artists, maybe students into some of these upcoming activities and events?
Well, it's funny because that's an ongoing conversation as well. And
Yeah.
I've talked to many artists. We had some of our local artists through the Quincy Arts Association took part in that Maritime Festival. So
Yeah.
we had, if you saw probably a bunch of artists that were painting all along the boardwalk.
Yeah.
And they had their projects. And that was also a contest at the end that
Yeah.
there was a voting process for, and somebody won
Awesome.
that prize. So
Yeah.
we're constantly trying to include the Quincy Art Association
Right.
as much as possible. We, as in the mayor's office, don't want to dictate art. I mean, I'm an artist, but I would never, as in our jobs,
Yeah.
we don't dictate or want to tell. We'd much rather get some public input on those things. There are some things that there's ongoing conversations about more of a public art process, and we're open to those conversations as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So hopefully that
Yeah.
happens more and more as we go.
Of course, because there's so much talent, I feel like, in Quincy
So
itself
much.
here. Why not just
Muralists,
stay in?
yeah, oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, of course. Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add to the episode?
No,
before-
I'm just, I love my job. I love
Yeah.
that I get to be a part of this, a cog in the wheel of something that is so awesome. I mean,
Right.
you work for the planning, so you
I
must
do.
enjoy what you do, right?
I
So
do, yeah.
I feel really great about what's happening here, and I like being a part of it.
It's awesome. I've been here for just over 2 years, a little bit, and
Right.
it's just been so great to be a part of. I'm learning new things every day as well. I'm learning new things about Quincy, which I feel like at both times it's not hard to believe because Quincy is so rich of information. But I
Yeah.
feel like I've been here my whole life, so I'm like, oh, I feel like you
Yeah.
know that already. But it is an awesome place to not only work but to live as well.
Yeah, that's great. Well, the only I would if I can do a plug to listen to the mayor's podcast.
Yeah.
We have a podcast called City View that
course.
we wish we could do every week, but he's just so busy.
Yeah.
It's just really hard to pin him down every week to do it. But called City View, it's out there on all the platforms.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be
yeah.
sure to link it in the
Yeah,
bio.
that's great.
It's also through QATV, right? As well.
No, well, we do it. We actually do it. So I spent years in radio, so we have
Yeah.
a Roadcaster Pro in the office. I got a couple of
Awesome.
these microphones.
Yeah.
We just go right into his office,
Yeah.
and I do it there, and it's
Great.
People have no idea where we do it right in his office.
Yeah, a little behind the scenes
Yeah,
tip. Yeah, well, thanks so much for coming on. Everyone be sure to check out the Quincy 400 events coming up with the Darius Rucker concert. and the John-
Quincy400.com. That's how you can find out
400.com.
everything that's happening.
Yeah.
And always call us at 617-376-1990. Any questions, complaints, we'll take them all. That's what we're there for. The mayor says any call we get, we treat them like our own family,
Yeah.
and that's what we do.
For sure. Well, thanks so much for listening in, and I hope you all have a great day or night whenever you're listening to this. And thanks so much again, Mark.
Thanks, Kate.